Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back to Zoom. Before we get started, I just wanted to say those who are practicing at a later time, there's going to be a link to the Spotify playlist in the description, so feel free to pick that if you want to listen to music. And then two, it might be helpful to have a block handy today just because you might need it for helping you lift yourself up from the floor. And we'll get to that later. And then three, just as a heads up, if you did not see the post on Patreon, there's no class next week and there is no Patreon extra upload next week. So all next week is a week off, or you can use one of the old videos if you want to. So with all that being said, today we are doing a mood uplifting yoga practice for darker days. And the days are getting darker and darker and darker. And they'll get darker all the way up until December 21st when solstice is. And then, so like along with that, for a lot of people comes the seasonal blues, or at least some sort of dampened mood. And that's natural when there's less sunlight. And so today's class was planned with the darker seasons in mind, because this kind of class can be helpful for uplifting that mood by using opposite energy. This can also be helpful even if it's not the darker times of year. It can be helpful during like any time of year that you just need an uplifting mood boost. But we're working with the idea of lifting ourselves up physically in order to bring that energy into the forefront of our minds and in our awareness, so that it may also affect us on a more deeper level or more subtler levels. One of my teachers, Darren Rhodes, often says that we should shape shift to state shift. And by using these shapes and the qualities that they hold will also in some way affect our psyches. And so we're constantly working to lift up against gravity all the time. And in some of the yoga poses, you can feel this way more than in others. And so those are the types of poses that we're going to be using today. Also transitions that we're going to be emphasizing today. So think uplifting energy, uplifting quality to affect us on a more deeper level as well. With all that being said, let's go ahead and close our eyes or gaze at a point out in front of you. Take a moment here just to connect with yourself, just as you are, becoming aware of first your breath, then your body, your mind, your emotions, your heart, and your spirit. And just take this moment here to acknowledge yourself just for showing up today. And also give yourself permission to take breaks as needed, or to add or subtract from postures as needed. As a way of stepping into our practice, we'll sing the sound Om one time. Feel free to sing along or listen. Take a full breath in. Exhale completely. Inhale again. Release your hands. Open your eyes. Let's begin on our bellies. Once you come down onto your belly, take your arms alongside your torso. Close your fingers and point your palms up. Starting off right away with lifting ourselves up. First, push down through your hands and feet. Push your hips down and forward and move your shoulders back. Push your hips down enough that you can lift your torso and head up away from the floor. Locust Shalabhasana 1. Take some slow, deep breaths. Really notice the resistance and notice how much it takes to lift yourself against gravity. Lower down, rest one side of your face on the floor. Look forward. Interlace your fingers behind your low back. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other. Do or don't straighten your arms. Squeeze your inner thighs, legs together. Then lift everything, including your feet, off the floor. Rotate inner thighs up, outer hips down. Press your knuckles up and back toward where the wall and ceiling meet behind you. And it is going to be quite a flow today, but it's going to be a slower flow. Slower, not easier. Lower all the way down, rest. Take another breath. Let your head rest the other way. Then take your forehead to the floor. Interlace your fingers behind your head. Elbows to the floor, lift your armpits up. Lift and lower your knees one at a time as you bend your knees. Pull your heels toward your bottom. Squeeze your knees and ankles in. Push head into hands, hands into head, and widen your elbows out to the side. Lift the scalp flesh on your head up toward the top of your head, and then lift your chin away from your chest. Lift your elbows wider to the side, squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back, and then push your feet up, knees off the floor. Don't hold your breath. Lower down, and then immediately come up to downward facing dog. Push your hands down and forward, feet down and back. Rotate your upper inner arms forward, inner thighs back. Feel free to bend your knees or straighten your legs. Push even weight through your hands and feet so that your hips get lighter and more buoyant in space. Feel free to bend and straighten one knee at a time. Walk your dog for the down dog jog. And then come to the outer edge of your right foot, inner edge of your left foot, legs straight, hips high, arms like you're in down dog still, just your feet are sideways. Sideways dog. Switch sides, outer left foot, inner right foot. Reach through both inner and outer edges of your feet. Lengthen the sides of your body. Come back to neutral. Bring your feet together. Bend your knees, walk your hands to your feet. Bend your knees a lot. Utkatasana, hips level with your knees. Lift your torso, lift your arms. Root to rise. Sit your hips way back, lift up through your sternum, draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Lift your chin slightly. Interlace your fingers, then straighten your legs. Point your palms up toward the ceiling for summit pose. Just stay facing the direction you're facing. Reach tall, move up through your palms, push down through your feet, draw your rib cage back and your tailbone forward. Keeping your hands as they are, lean your hips to your left and your torso to your right for summit crescent variation. Push more through your bottom arm rather than letting it relax and fall toward the floor. Inhale, come back up. Hips to your right, torso to your left. Second side. Stay long in the sides of your body. Root evenly through your inner feet. Inhale, reach up, reach through your palms. Then exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Walk your hands forward, almost fell. Shift forward, plank pose, top of a push-up. Lower halfway down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, straight arms. Hips forward, shoulders back, curl back. Press back, downward dog. Bring your feet together. Virabhadrasana 1, step your right foot forward between your hands. Spin your back heel to the floor. Square your hips, move right hip back, left hip forward. Lift your torso and your arms. Push down through your feet, reach up longer and taller. Move your rib cage back, tailbone forward. Keep your head in line with the rest of your spine. Open your torso and your arms to the side. Turn your left toes straight off to the left toward the long edge of your mat, and then widen your right knee to the right. Virabhadrasana 2. Breathe here. Point your right palm up, reverse warrior, lean back, take your left hand to your left thigh, reach up and over toward the left. Push more through your back leg, maybe bend your right knee a little bit more. Keep your torso and your arm as they are, straighten your right leg. Then lift your torso, lean your hips to your left, torso to your right, reach, take your right hand to shin, ankle, or the floor under your shoulder. Tone and turn your abdomen toward the ceiling. Push your legs longer, lift up through your sternum, and maybe turn your gaze up toward your left palm. Look down at the floor, bend your right knee, lift back up to warrior 2, then turn back to warrior 1, then lower your hands to the floor, plank pose, top of a push-up, lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog, straight arms. Exhale, downward dog. Bring your feet together. Warrior 1, left foot forward, back heel down. Lift your torso, lift your arms, square your hips. Sit lower. Move your rib cage back, tailbone forward, reach up through your fingertips. Virabhadrasana 2, open torso, arms wide, turn your right toes slightly to the right. Gaze beyond your left fingertips, torso in line with your hips. Maybe sit a little deeper, push more through your back leg. Point left palm up, reach back, reverse warrior, right hand to your right leg. Keep your left hip low, push more through your left fingers, left arm. Keep your arms and torso like it is. Work your left leg towards straight. Then lift your torso, lean hips to your right, torso to your left, reach. Take left hand to shin, ankle, or the floor. Tone and turn your abdomen toward the ceiling. Maybe turn your gaze upward. Tone your thighs and lift your kneecaps. Virabhadrasana 2, bend your left knee, lift your torso up. Then turn your right toes in. Virabhadrasana 1, turn forward. Lower your hands to the floor. Vinyasa, plank pose. Lower halfway down. Push back up to up dog. Then press back to downward dog. Good. Bring your feet together. Step your right foot in between your hands. Lower your left knee to the floor for Anjanayasana, monkey lunge. Draw your right hip back, left hip forward. Lift your torso, lift your arms, stretch tall. You can totally hang out here, just work the length in your spine, or press hips forward, hips toward your heel, then reach up through your sternum and curl back for a back bend. Breathe here. Lower your hands to the floor. Listen carefully. Curl your back toes under, lift your back knee up. Take your right hand forward into the right of your right foot, half moon. Anjanayasana, push down through your right leg, work your right leg straighter. Lift your left leg with your left toes pointing to the left, and reach your left arm straight up toward the ceiling. Push arms and legs longer. Try to keep your right toes pointing straight ahead rather than in, and keep your right big toe mound pushing down strongly. Bend your right knee, step way back, and extend your left arm beyond your ear for extended side angle pose. Tone and turn your abdomen toward the ceiling. Push your left leg and arm longer and away from each other. Widen your right knee more to the right. Lower your hand. Vinyasa. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. Step your left foot forward. Lower your right knee. Press your foot and knee toward each other. Lift your torso. Lift your arms. Press tailbone forward. Reach length through your spine first. Then maybe sit your hips lower. Ribs back, lengthen through your spine, maybe curl back. Keep your breath steady. Gaze steady. Half moon. Lift your hips up. Curl your back toes under. Lift your back knee. Take left hand forward into the left. Step into your left leg. Lift your right leg parallel to the floor. Open toes out to the right. Reach your right arm up. Kick arms and legs longer. Lift through the top of your head toward the wall that your top of your head's facing. Step way back. And then reach your right arm beyond your ear. Push through your right leg. Reach through your right arm. Widen left knee to the left and turn more to the right. Plank pose. Vinyasa. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. Bring your feet together. Step your right foot forward between your hands. You can go slightly behind your hands if you're close up to a wall or something. Then step into your right leg and then lift your left leg parallel to the floor. This can be where you have your block nearby. You can just take it somewhere underneath your shoulders or under your chest. And then you could support yourself up on your block and just hold here, getting your torso parallel to the floor, moving your ribs back, and then kick your left leg longer. Do or don't straighten your standing leg. If you do, tone your thigh, lift your kneecap. Push more through your glute muscles down through your heel. Stay here or shift your weight back a little bit into your right leg to lift your arms out in front of you. Virabhadrasana 3. Now carefully pull your left knee in as you start to stand up. It's a lot on the glutes. And then kick your left leg forward as you reach your arms over your head, levitating sage. Breathe. Then kick your left leg back again. And then maybe use your block. Maybe just quickly take your hands to the block for support. And then come back to downward dog. Move your block. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. Yeah. You could put your block back if you want. Step your left foot forward. And then step into your left leg. Pick your right leg up parallel to the floor. Maybe keep your left knee bent or straighten your leg, tone your thigh, lift your kneecap. Lift your torso up to halfway, maybe on the block. Maybe just go right into warrior three if you want a longer hold. Push your right leg longer. Push more through your left glute into your left heel. Then do or don't, lean back more to your heel, and then reach your arms out in front of you. Pull your ribs back, tailbone toward your heel. Don't hold your breath. Levitating sage, pull your right knee in, lower your hips a little, lift your torso up, reach your arms up, kick your right leg forward. Hold. Bend your knee, kick your leg back, come back through warrior three, lower your hands, move your block, step back, down dog, plank pose, and chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a breather. Feel free to stay like this or come into a child's pose. Knees wide, toes together. Forehead, tip of nose on the floor. And just breathe. Place your hands by your ears, move your shoulders back, lift your head, and slowly come up. Come back to downward dog. This time walk your feet like a step closer to your hands. Bend your knees quite a bit. Then cross your right ankle on top of your left knee, figure four dog. Widen your right knee to the left, set your hips way back, and push your arms straighter. Hold here. Now walk your hands back a few times until your heel of your left foot comes back down to the floor. Great, now stay here, or take one hand to your foot, the other hand to your knee. So right hand to right knee, left hand to right foot. You could stay like that or baby cradle your legs and interlace your fingers around your right shin. Stay here, push through your left leg. It's a lot of work on the hip and quad and glutes on your left leg. Stand up, take your leg with you. Try to get your right shin more parallel to the floor. Move your shoulders back, stand up as tall as you can. Good. Good, lower down. Now, listen carefully. You're gonna uncross your right foot and step it way forward. Ugh. That came out of nowhere. Lower your back knee to the floor. And then twisted monkey lunge. Turn your right toes out. Take your left hand forward into the left, fingers point out. Right hand to right thigh and twist to the right. Stay here, lift your right arm up. Bend your back knee, grab your foot from the outer edge. Pull heel and outer left hip toward each other. Keep the twist. Grow your left arm longer. Move your shoulders back and maybe curl back, back bend. Lower your foot. Down dog. Vinyasa or skip it. Lower halfway down. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. And then bend your knees, walk your feet in a little bit. Cross your left ankle over your right knee and sit back toward your heel. Figure four. Hold here a couple more breaths. Walk your hands back slowly till your right heel comes to the floor and you can put all your weight in your right leg. Stay working here, or either hold onto your foot and knee or wrap your arms around your foot and knee. Keep your gaze steady. Push through your right leg and slowly stand up, take your leg with you. Start to move your gaze slowly forward. Take left shin parallel to the floor. Push through your right leg, lift up through the top of your head. Good. Slowly lower your foot to your knee, and then try not to lower your left foot until you take your left foot all the way out in front. Lower your knee to the floor, turn your left toes out, take your right hand forward into the right, fingers point out, twist to the left. Stay here or reach your left arm up. Reach your left arm back. Grab your foot from the outer edge. Pull your right heel toward your outer right hip. Push through your right arm, twist to the left. Lift your sternum, curl back. Shoulders back. Downward dog. Plank. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward dog. Bring your feet together and just walk your feet a little bit more toward your hands, like a few steps. And then bend your knees, widen your knees out to the sides, and then walk your hands back until your heels start to reach back, but more weight is in your feet than your hands. Now from here, walk yourself more inside your legs. You could stay with your arms out in front of you, or take one arm to the left, or left arm to the left, point your palm up, shoulder back, bend your elbow, grab your left heel. Then do the same with your right arm to the right, palm up, bend your elbow, grab your right heel. Pull yourself into a tight little ball. We're going for crow pose next. So the tighter you squeeze in, the better. Squeeze your shoulders back against your knees into your armpits. And then take your hands under your shoulders. Lift your chin, look forward. Push through your hands and feet first to lift your elbows and hips up. Then actively pull your hands down and back as you push your toes down and back to shift your weight forward. And then lift one or both feet at the same time as you pull your shoulders back and round your spine a lot. Halloween cat. Slowly lower back down. Great, downward dog. Walk your feet to your hands. Take your block and just set it on the tall setting on the right side of your mat. And so if you're not using a block, you can place your hand on the floor. Now start with a bent right knee. Push all your weight into your right leg. Then bend your left knee here with your knee still pointing down, and then reach to grab your outer left foot with your left hand. Then keeping your heel close to your hip, start to point your knee back, and then open your left hip on top of your right hip. All right, we're going for sugar cane pose. From here, push through your right arm, push through your right foot. Now push your hips forward as you kick your left foot back toward the wall behind you. Maybe turn your gaze toward the ceiling. It's pretty hard to do. Very good. Now listen carefully. This is where it gets really weird. Square your hips back to the floor, but keep hold of your left foot with your hand. Now, if you're on a block, it'll be easier. Look forward. Now push your foot into your hand so much that it helps kind of lift you up off of your block. And then take your right arm out in front of you. Point your palm up, and then work your right leg towards straight as you kick your left leg way back. It's very hard, so if you fall out, don't worry, it's okay. Then lower back down. Awesome. Lower your foot, shake out your right leg, and take your block over to the left side. All right, you can stand up first, shake it out, make sure you feel good, and then take your left hand to your left block, or to your block, push through your left leg, bend your right knee, grab your foot from the outer edge, then start to kick your foot back. Open your right hip on top of your left hip, maybe work your left leg straight. Push just as much through your left hand as you do your foot. Kick your right leg back, hips forward, shoulders back, maybe turn your gaze toward the ceiling for sugar cane. Then square your hips and torso back to the floor. Look forward a little bit. Start to kick your foot into your hand, give you that uplifting energy, push through your left foot, and then lift your left arm, left palm pointing up for uplifting energy. And then kick back and maybe work your left leg straight. Lift your right leg higher, baby dancer. Slowly come back down. Downward dog. Good job. If you fell, that just means you were working really, really hard. Stretch it out. Arms longer, legs longer. Pigeon Prep. Take your right knee behind your right wrist. Point your right toes toward your left hip. Lower your left knee in line with your right heel and slide it back. Squeeze your knees toward each other from front to back and side to side. If you need a block under your right hip for more support, feel free to place it under there. Press your tailbone forward and lift your torso taller. Keep squeezing your knees in from front and back, side to side, and toward the midline. Stay working here. Walk your hands back, surrounding your hips. The more you walk your hands back, the more back bend you come into, so make sure you press your tailbone more forward. Take your right hand either on your right thigh or inside your right leg to support you. Then bend your left knee so your left foot points straight up. Then take your left hand back for quad stretch. Pull your heel toward your outer left hip. Square hips and torso more forward by drawing right hip back, left hip forward. Maybe point your left elbow more toward the ceiling, fingers pointing forward over your toes. This is another one where you can support yourself to help you lift up. Take your left elbow around the top of your right foot and then turn your fingers pointing up. Now push your foot into your arm and that'll help take the weight out of your right hand. Then take your right arm up, bend your elbow and grab your fingers by your left ear. Or if you cannot grab your fingers, just have them going in that direction. Turn your torso more forward. Mermaid 2 or mermaid, I can't remember which number it is, but it's a mermaid pose. Then lower your hands to the floor. Downward dog. There's no more vinyasas unless you really want them. Step your left knee outside your left wrist or behind your wrist. Slide your right knee back. Squeeze your knees toward each other. And then press your tailbone forward. Walk your hands back as much as desirable for you today. Take another breath here. And then maybe walk your hands back a little bit more. Remember to press your tailbone forward more. All right, take left hand either to thigh or in front of your shin. Bend your right knee. Reach your right arm back to grab your foot. Pull your heel toward your outer right hip. Maybe point your elbow more upward, fingers more forward. Pull left hip back, right hip forward to square more toward the front. Stay long in your spine. Deepen your breath. Stay here, or slide your right elbow around the front of your right foot, point your right fingers up, then push your foot into your arm to lighten your left hand. And then maybe take your left arm up, bend your elbow, grab your fingers, turn your torso, head more forward, hips more forward. Lower your hand, downward dog. Very nice. All right, here comes another one. Take your feet a little bit closer to your hands, about a step in. And then cross your right ankle over your left knee. Widen your right knee to the right, figure 4 again. Bend your knees. And walk your hands back until all the weight comes into your left foot. And then from here, you can totally hang out and stay. You could also do standing baby cradle again if you wanted to, or wrap your arms around the front of your right shin for Ekapatagalavasana, flying pigeon. You want to get your shin as high up into your armpits as possible, and your right toes hooked around your outer left arm. Push your foot into your arm into your foot, shin into your arms into your shin, and then hop your hands a little bit more forward so you have leaning leverage. So push through your left foot to lean more over your hands so your wrists are more under your hips. Look forward, not backward. From here, maybe stay or lift your left heel up. Stay working here, shift your weight a little more forward to kick your left leg back. Hold. Bend your knee, lower your foot, and then lower your foot all the way to the floor. Stand up for a moment, shake out your arms. Good. Awesome. Come into downward dog. Short downward dog. Bend your knees to cross your left ankle over your right knee. Widen your left knee to the left. Bend your right knee. Walk your hands back to your foot till your whole right foot comes down.
And then stay working here. Maybe do standing baby cradle again, or wrap your arms around the front of your left shin. Get as deep in there as you can. Then hook your foot around your outer right arm. Push foot into arm, arm into foot, shin into arms, arms into shin. Keep all of that. Walk your hands forward. Lean forward, pushing your right foot down and back to lean more over your hands. Lift your hips high. If you feel like your right foot can get light, lift your right heel to your hip. Stay working here. Push your weight forward. Kick your right foot back. Push through your left shin. Bend your knee. Lower your foot. Walk back. Lower your foot to stand up. Whew, very nice. All right, light on your back. Good job. And I picked like harder poses too, because you know, when you're down and you're trying to lift yourself up like mentally, emotionally, it's not easy. So this is a great example using yoga poses. All right, place your feet flat on the floor, hip distance, point your toes straight ahead. Walk your shoulders in one at a time. Push your head, shoulders, feet down. Lift your hips up. Feel free to grab the outer edges of your mat or interlace your fingers underneath your hips. Walk your shoulders in again. Make sure no part of your spine is touching the floor, especially in between your shoulders. Push more through your shoulders, feet, and head. Keep your chin lifting away from your chest. Try to lift more from your outer hips and push more through your inner feet. Release your hands. Slowly take your hips back to the floor. Let your knees fall in, palms wherever comfortable. Just take a breather. All right, big pose. Feel free to do the last pose we just did, bridge pose, or place your feet on the floor, hip distance, point your toes straight ahead. Going into Urdhvadhanarasana, full wheel, place your hands beside your ears. Point your fingers slightly out and take your hands so that my pinky fingers and my ring fingers edges come off of my mat. Now from here, push your feet down to lift your hips up. Push your hands down and maybe push up to the top of your head. You can stay anywhere along the way. Pull your shoulders back toward your hips, up toward the ceiling. Push your feet down and away from your head, and then push your arms towards straight. Lift yourself up. Reach through your heart. Lead with your heart. Maybe walk your feet a little closer to your hands. Turn your toes more forward. Slowly lower all the way back down. Rest knees together, feet wide, hands wherever comfortable. Take your arms out like cactus arms. Separate your knees and just do windshield wipers side to side. Let your knees fall and stagger to side to side. You don't have to take your knees all the way to the floor. They can really just move a little bit to each side if that's better for you. Next time your knees go to the right, leave them there. Dorje pose. Take your right foot or your ankle to your left thigh. Push foot into thigh into foot. And then push your knee, your left knee, toward the wall rather than the floor. And then maybe grab your left wrist with your right hand and pull up in the opposite direction. And then let go of your wrist, unhook your foot, come back up, hips to center. Let your knees fall to the left. Place the sole of your left foot or your left ankle to your right knee or thigh. Push thigh into foot, foot into thigh. Then push your knee toward the wall. Grab your right wrist and pull up in the opposite direction. Let go of your wrist. Unhook your foot. Come back up, hips to center. Heel toe your feet together. And then pull your right knee toward your chest. And then grab your right big toe with your first two fingers and thumb of your right hand. Slightly round your wrist, which can be very therapeutic after all the wrist stretching we did today with the arm balances. Stay working here or straighten your right leg towards straight. Point your right knee and toes toward the floor. And then keep your left toes and knee pointing toward the ceiling as you work your left leg towards straight, or feel free to keep it bent. Take your left arm along your left thigh on top and reach your fingertips toward your knee. Push both legs longer. Supta Padangusthasana. And start to open your right leg slowly to the right for sideways variation of Supta Padangusthasana. Try to keep your left hip on the floor. Keep pressing both legs longer and keep reaching your left fingers toward your left knee. Lift your right leg back up. Now take your left hand outside your right foot. Bend your left knee. And then roll over to your outer left hip. And then see if you can grab your left foot with your right hand and pull your left heel toward your left sitting bone for Tibetan weaponry. Just a different way than we usually get into it. Kick through your right foot. If you'd like, instead, you can just keep your left leg straight for regular revolved Supta Padangusthasana. Tack your right shoulder back toward the floor. And lengthen from right hip to armpit. Bend your right knee. Point your right knee back up. And then keep your legs where they are and just let go of your feet with your hands. Just take your arms out to the side and actively point your right knee toward the ceiling. And slowly lift your legs back up. Uncross your foot. Take your knees and ankles together and pull your left knee towards you. Grab your left big toe, first two fingers and thumb. Round your wrist a little bit. Take your right hand to your right thigh. Work your left leg towards straight. Maybe straighten your right leg, kick length through both of your legs. Reach to the top of your head. And slowly open your left leg to the left. Keep tacking your right hip back. Push length through both of your legs. Reach through your right fingertips. Lift your leg back up. Bend your right knee. Take your right hand outside your left foot. Roll over to your outer right hip. Maybe grab onto your right foot with your left hand. Pull your heel to your hip and take your foot back down to the floor. Work your left leg towards straight. Kick through both feet into both hands. Rotate your outer left hip away from your shoulder and tack your left shoulder back. Unhook your foot from your hand. Bend your knees. Point your left knee back up. Just let your arms come off to the side. Actively push your knee toward the ceiling. Push foot into leg, leg into foot. Slowly lift your legs back up. Hips to center. Uncross your foot. Then bring your knees, ankles together. Draw your knees toward your chest. And then grab either outside your shins, ankles, or feet for reclined intense west stretch, Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana 2. Feel free to keep your mid back down or lift up all the way to your upper back, but no higher, not on your neck. Push feet into hands, hands into feet. Keep your rib cage and thighs touching by bending your knees if you need to. But do still press your thighs and your ribs away from each other. Then bend your knees. Grab your big toes, first two fingers and thumbs. And then it's like happy baby for a moment. Push your feet into your hands, hands into your feet. Lift your head off the floor. And then start to rock forward and back. Try to be gentle with yourself. Forward and back. Forward and back. Keep the calm quality we've cultivated recently. And then come all the way up to balancing on your hips, just behind your sitting bones. Push your feet and hands into each other evenly. Lift your lower back in and up. And then do or don't, kick your legs towards straight. Bring your ankles together. Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana 1. Feel free to stay in this variation or quickly take your hands outside your feet. Try to get your shins, feet more vertical, and then torso more vertical. Take face toward shins, shins toward face. And then bend your knees, cross your ankles, and then have a seat. Sit maybe on a block or on a blanket. We're going to do a little bit of pranayama before we go into shavasana. Nadi Shodhana. Take your first two fingers of your right hand, curl them toward the center of your palm. And then take your ring finger to your left nostril, just where the bony part meets the fleshy part. And only put enough pressure when you push pressure into these points, just to close off airflow, but not so much your nostril sticks when you take it off. So from here, take a full breath in through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. Plug your left nostril with your ring finger. Inhale through the right. Plug your right nostril with your thumb. Exhale through the left. Inhale left. Plug left, exhale right. Inhale right. Plug right, exhale left. Inhale left. Plug left, exhale right. Continue on your own. After your next exhale through your right nostril, release the hand mudra. Lower your hand to your thigh. Just take a moment here with your natural breath. Feel free to stay here or come all the way down to your back, your belly, your side, or legs at the wall. Shavasana.
Begin to deepen and lengthen your breath. Bring gentle movements back into your body. And gently bend your knees and roll over to your side. And then when you feel ready, gently press yourself back up to seated. So we shape shift to state shift, not necessarily to avoid a problem at hand, but if anything, to provide us with at least a temporary sense of relief if we're feeling down or blue or just not having a great day. We can use these postures to help lift us back up when we need it most. Feel free to join your palms in front of your heart for one last Om. Take a full breath in. Exhale completely. Inhale again. Feel free to place your hands over your heart, bowing your head into your heart. Take a moment to acknowledge yourself, each other, this practice, and anyone or anything else. Take as much time as you need. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Thank you all so much for coming to practice with me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.